Hi there, this is Jim the Keys Bartender coming to you from the Keys, the Florida Keys. This episode, I'm going to call this episode 251, and it's going to be Don't Fucking Say It. Let me see how long we are currently, 26 seconds into the show, and I did not mention anything about what is going on, the name of it, either of the two main names that we're going to call it for, but I'm going to talk about some of the side effects of dealing with it. Um, so it's Don't Fucking Say It. So today I tended to my sobriety by going to a small meeting. We kept our social distance. It's under 10 people, the meeting. And on the way back, I decided to do a little shopping to get a hold of some supplies we needed. So every time we go in there, Abby is concerned about having the proper amount of toilet paper, which I thought we had about a month and a half worth of toilet paper in the house. And as I stated on the, every time I have to cough, I'm going to try to turn off the mic. I'm back. The amount of toilet paper I have in the house right now would have lasted me for a year and a half, 2 years. As a matter of fact, it probably would have lasted so long it would have started disintegrating on its own. And the other day we were walking through a hardware store because we decided to paint our vestibule. We did a number. When we were driving around the neighborhood, she saw a door and she liked the color of it. So we decided to paint our front door that way. Matter of fact, I should have just taken a picture of it maybe I'll take a picture of it for the episode. Now that's kind of boring. But in the front, it's called KLI, Key Largo, whatever I stands for, industrial or Key Largo Island. But KLI, they had a box of marine toilet paper. I don't know what that meant. Marine, meaning on the ocean, not Marine Corps toilet paper. I mean, Marine Corps toilet paper could be just your hand. Who knows? But she looked at it and said, maybe we should get some of that. I said, I don't think we sunk that low. I think marine toilet paper is like one ply, so it doesn't clog. You don't really flush. You flush into a tank on a boat. So I guess it's supposed to break down or something like that. It's not supposed to. Marine toilet paper. I just didn't like the sound of it. And I said, I don't think we sunk to that. We got plenty of books in the house. And I mean, I got old clothes that I would use before I used this marine toilet paper. It looked pretty harsh. It looked like a number 5 sandpaper to me. So I'm stopping at one of the dollar stores, and I see some people I met there, and I look down the aisle. There's nothing in the aisle. Same fucking dollar store that week and a half ago, I was told that someone bought 3 pallets. A single customer came in and bought out 3 pallets of toilet paper, supposedly. And I don't want to add to it, but it supposedly was Miami people. So I don't think I said anything, those 2 words that I'm not supposed to say. So I head up to the grocery store. And at the grocery store, I go in there and take my easy time, get some honey, coffee's on sale. So that's always my apocalyptic supply I figure I'm going to have. You don't need a lot. I believe, this is my theory. And I guess the toilet paper people think the same thing. In case of a total meltdown in society, you just have to have a lot of one thing. And in the old days, that could have been Spam. It could have been fuel. It could have been water or water filtration systems. I hoard coffee. And I feel the need that I always like to have a 2 to 3 month supply of coffee, just in case a coffee blight occurs. Especially now, since I'm not drinking anymore, coffee is more important than anything. So I get the coffee, I get the honey, And I walked down the aisle, and I should have taken a picture of it. I had my phone with me. Right down the aisle, there's a 12-pack of toilet paper. And on the right side, I see paper towels. So I walk down. It says one package per customer. I grab that, grab some of the paper towels, and I'm fucking out of there like Indiana Jones running out of the cave, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And thought the music, thought the fucking big rockets start coming out, chasing me out. But I didn't run through the cash register, and I hightailed it out of there with my precious commodity. So, yeah, well, there's that thing. Now we got, what is it? 37 rolls of toilet paper, which, holy shit, 37, that would have been, I'm being generous with the amount I used. I'm thinking I would have had, that's 3.5 years worth of toilet paper for me by myself, maybe 4 years of toilet paper. But supposedly with the girls, I mean, even if they use it twice as much as I do, that's, it's 3.5 years. So it should be 1 year's worth of supply of toilet paper. Double. Oh no, that's 3 of us. If they use it the same amount, they double up on mine. So that'd be 1.5 years. That'd be 6 months. It should be 6 months worth of toilet paper, but it's not. So we have our little routines here since everything that's going on, and I didn't say it yet. I didn't say it because right now my wife, she has 3 sisters. One lives in Tavernier, which is south of us, and which the news is, they're kind of holed up. We don't see them. We haven't seen them in 2.5 weeks. So she sees them. She FaceTimes her sisters, and one's in South Central Poland in a town called Sanjeshu. Don't try to spell it because it's not spelled that way. And the other lives in Madrid, Spain. You get all the sisters talking in their Slavic, fast Slavic thing, saying all the shit. Every so often I know she's saying something about me because they hear the gym thing come up, but they talk about what's going on. Madrid being one of the hotbeds of, like New York City, of this thing that's going on. And I'm not going to, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm still, boy, we're 7 or 8 minutes into it. I still haven't said it. So with the new things that are going on, since it always amazes me that you go into the supermarket and they have, everyone around the world sees it. You have the social distancing. So you have all the lines and they put tape down and you stand behind that line, and they put standard splash guards out at the register so people aren't breathing on them, but most of the people aren't interacting behind the place guards. They got to bag their groceries, and someone comes up and bags the groceries. You're helping them bag the groceries, and then you're handing them the money, which a bartender, I still paying with some cash and things like that instead of with credit cards. I don't know. I got in the habit down here of paying with cash because of being in South Florida. And for some reason, South Florida is rife with people that they spoof credit cards and debit cards. They put those card readers on the gas pumps and the ATM machines, and they're always scamming, doing a reading and stuff like that. It happens so much down here. I'm sure it happens around the world and stuff like that. But with these chip cards, it's supposed to be harder to do. But I've gotten in the habit of just using cash. But that took a long time. But the speed at which we, stand 6 feet away from people, and you see the people going out with the mask and the gloves, and then they're looking at you like you're an asshole when you don't have the gloves on. And if you have a cough, I'm prone to fucking allergies. So a lot of times when I'm out, I'm sneezing and coughing anyway. which makes me a kind of a pariah. I try to watch what I'm doing there, but it is amazing, just like the way people. Um, it used to be if you sneezed or coughed, people would uh, kind of, every so often, people be standoffish. Other people don't even give a shit. You know what I mean? They dive right in there. But you go out in the morning. I go out and I grab my coffee from uh, the gas station here. I'm careful. You can't use your own cup anymore, which I don't understand. That it's not like they're going to scan it. They're doing refills. I guess they don't want you putting it down and infecting. But you got to go up there. You got to touch their cups and then their lids. And if you're infected, you could be infecting theirs instead of just keeping it on your cup. I know when you're putting it on underneath the thing, you may. I don't know what their reasoning is not doing refills and just restocking their cups, because it just seems like you're just reinfecting him. And I still didn't say what, I didn't even say those names anymore. I didn't say either two of them. So got the social distancing. And there's another thing, the FaceTime meetings and all that with, obviously Abby was doing that anyway, because your sister's in Madrid and Poland and shit like that. You're not going to, they always did that. Originally it was Skype and all that stuff, but now it's all FaceTime. And watching Mass and watch down here, especially in the Keys, you got all these out of work musicians, and they're doing their um, Facebook Live shows where they do maybe 20, 30 minutes of a gig on their backyard, which is pretty cool. But it's kind of sad too, because these guys are doing it for free, and they're just, where, if you're a full-time musician down here, you had to do a minimum of like 9, 10 gigs, unless you're really good, in order to make, pay. I don't know how they're going to do it. A lot of them, some of them may not even have paid taxes or anything like that. I hate that. I hope they get taken care of. I just didn't even think about that until I said that right now. And the amount of traffic on social media now, because of not just social media, but homeschooling and stuff like that, and people working from home, it's amazing that the internet is able to handle that. In Florida, the unemployment line has been inundated. You can't even register. I was able to register, but my wife, I guess we had registered right around Irma for it, and I can't fucking remember the security questions. I was drinking back then, so we came up with security questions. We never wrote them down, which is kind of my part, of course. So we're trying to call up the offices of unemployment compensation, and there's 750,000, a million people applying at the same time, so they can't even handle any of the phone calls or call back and just reset their PIN code or anything like that. So we're in that. I guess everyone's in the same boat like that. But you have people working from home, kids on the internet, doing their homeschooling things. And my daughter had her one of her classes online with her friends, and then they work together. Now she's doing some reading on her own tonight, and then she spends about three hours talking to her friends, which I can't fault her, because what are you, a 13-year-old girl, what are you going to do? And then watching Mass online, that is, I was going to say, incredible would have been a wrong word. We were watching a live Mass from Poland, and it was from a Franciscan church in my wife's hometown in Poland. And the priest had a very pleasant voice. I don't understand Polish fluently. I know a couple of the phrases, kiss me, beer, wine, water, bathroom, all those things. And I was listening to uh, the mass, and it just sounded like a gentle person. They sound like they were saying it's a really nice mass. And here in Key Largo, they have the guy that does uh, the organ, plays the organ at the church, is also the main singer, but he's very loud and he has a distinct voice. I'm not going to go any further than that, but I guess because he plays the organ, he gets to be the one that sings all the time too. So that's what you have. And in Poland, because it's a Franciscan monastery, I don't know if they had a chorus or anything like that, but they have a guy that's singing. And the guy that sings, I don't understand Polish, but he has a very interesting voice. And I want to play it for you guys. I'm not going to play it for you today, but next week I'm going to record it so you can listen to it. You heard me play the recording of Stay the Fucking Home by that brilliant guy that looks like David Letterman. But this guy, he sounds like a villain. If you heard him, it sounds like he's concocting some machine to hurt someone or kidnap someone or poison a city or whatever that would do. So I get back to the social media thing. I had this thing about people when people are in need and stuff like that. Now we have this GoFundMe pages, and I mean everyone. There's so many people. You're talking about 30-40% unemployment right now, underemployment right now, and I mean, who's going to be donating to people? Who's not? But then you got people that go up there. I'm going to need my prayer warriors. Oh my God, how much? I mean, it's nice to have some faith and stuff like that, but how much of the bottom of the barrel you've reached is that you're just going on the internet to get a bunch of people to pray for you. And, I guess with this, unless something really serious happens, and you watch the news, there is nothing on there. There could be a factory can explode in Dubuque and kill 5,000 people. I think that would be like a 5-minute segment. Normally it'd be all week we hear about it. You don't hear anything. You don't hear about murder. You don't hear this. You don't hear that. It's just amazing. It's just drowned out by this thing here. But there's the prayer warriors. People want sending a truckload of prayers. People asking for certain types of photos. People say all the negative stuff on the internet. Could you post the 13th picture in your gallery, your photo gallery? Don't cheat. I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's no way cheating or not. People aren't picking all their photos because every so often you see some girl would be posting a photo of her in her underwear, or a guy snapping a picture of him in his shirt. That would be great. I mean, I would love to see something like that. People say post your 13th one and be the most embarrassing photo. That would be one of a guy with a dick pic. That would be awesome. Not that I want to see a dick pic, but just like in a random one. Post your 13th one to brighten up my day, and all of a sudden there's a guy with his dick in his hand. But I was considering doing a post and say, listen, there's a lot of negative stuff. If they're posted 237th photo, no cheating. Like I fucking really know. So I made it 20 minutes through the show. I didn't talk anything about this thing going on. So I was thinking about how long I haven't bartended. Haven't made one drink. I don't even know if I made Abby a drink. So it's going on. God, is it a week and a half? Which I've been on vacation, but even on vacation, I make a drink. I make drink for people and so on. But I was just thinking, wow, I've been bartending for a while, and then I started thinking about, well, how hard. I've been doing some painting. I realized how painting is. I did some car work. I worked on my wife's car and my car. I did some house repair. I put up home repairs. You know, I worked on a leaky faucet, not too hard, but did a lot of cooking, made some Amish cinnamon bread. But then I just thought about how hard was bartending. And I thought about the hardest bartending jobs I ever did. And then I thought about this, just came on. The guy, what's the guy's name? But it's the bartender at the cantina in Star Wars. And whatever, that had to be a really shitty gig. I mean, think about it. You're in a place, you're going to say, how the fuck are you supposed to card people? I mean, you got someone you got 100 different species of aliens. Um, how many fucking languages they're talking about? Oh, come on, man. I can understand it to be a bartender, understanding, 4, maybe 5 languages, bar talk, know all the different words for beer and stuff like that. But then the clicking, the snorting, or whatever, the Wookiee moans and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to, first of all, I wouldn't tell if someone was like 5 years old. You got those little ones, you got the large ones, you don't know if they're 5 years old or 100 years old. And yeah, and what's their limit? I mean, what can this guy, if you're like, oh, how they're going to react to it? How many things are like, if someone shows up, say, well, I never dealt with this species before. I mean, they could fucking just explode. What if you give them some kind of whiskey and stuff like that, and the body chemistry just, oh, well, don't give him a fucking bourbon because that guy's his head fucking explodes when it happens. Yeah, that's great. And imagine your inventory. You got like 1,000 possible different aliens coming in, and 1,000. So they all have to have their specialty ones. It's not like going in, well, I mean, is it a lot like going to Europe and stuff like that, where pretty much fucking everyone likes Jack Daniels or vodka? I mean, sake. I mean, is it that main thing, or are you going to have to do some weird shit? Think about that. In Mongolia, they drink fermented goat milk. Fermented goat milk. And there's other foul stuff. There's probably some Scandinavian fish concoction. So imagine the stuff that they would in Star Wars, they ferment from a giant bug's anus. That could be their thing. And how much inventory you're going to do, and how you're supposed to make it. And think about the shit they're going to have. What if someone gets intoxicated on arsenic or hydrochloric acid, and then you mix it, you spill it on your fucking hand, and when they come in, how do you greet them? So Miss, Mr., Sir, Ma'am, you're going to know the main ones and stuff like that. Yeah, this one wears a scarf, this one doesn't, or this one's antenna bends some way when it's a female, or they got 7 different genders. What the fuck? And yeah, and back to that. How the fuck do you get to the language thing when you're talking to them? And finally, I mean, imagine if they didn't have a janitorial staff and you're just in charge of cleaning up the restroom. I mean, humans expel 2 different ways. You got number 1 and number 2. You got an alien have like 5 different ways of getting rid of the poisons in their body and shit like that. Imagine the filth in the bathroom. And what if tipping isn't something? It's just something only humans do. And you gotta fucking deal with it. You don't get fucking tipped. And fucking you just seen the way they cut off someone's arm or something like that. You get in a fight, someone brings out a lightsaber or something like that. They cut off someone's arm, and then everyone turns around, looks, and goes, or kills somebody. And oh well, did someone just got? I mean, I've been in some really shitty bars before and stuff like that. I haven't been in the worst, but even in the worst bars, someone gets killed. that's pretty much the night's over when someone gets shot. You think you're not serving anything more. But they just kept on going, just fucking rolling along. So whenever I complain about having a tough bartending job, I just think of the fucking guy at that cantina. I mean, he wasn't the nicest guy in the world, but then again, who would be if you had to deal with all that bullshit? And why the fuck would you get pissed off if an android came in when he sends C-3PO? That's the two fucking guys. They don't drink, and they don't piss or shit. And he speaks every language. Why would you kick someone out that speaks all the languages? The most polite guy in there. I mean, it was the weirdest discriminatory act I've ever seen. Not serving, not allowing a well-behaved android in. I never understood that. There's everybody else in fucking his bar, I would not invite inside my house. But those two, the C-3PO and R2-D2, I would you could sit over there in the corner and stuff like that. They're not gonna make a mess. Hey, they may leak a little oil and shit like that, but it's nothing like that shit. That's all I have to say about that. So consider that, my bartending friends. If you ever have a tough day and you're working at a tough place, think of that guy. Okay, I was thinking about writing. I was thinking of a storyline. Once again, I was back in Publix, and this other, the dollar store, and there's like half the people wearing masks. And I'm thinking, holy shit, they're wearing gloves, they're wearing masks. What a great time for a robbery. I mean, it's bad because a lot of people are using their cards. So there's not a lot of cash on hand. But there may be enough, but no one's going to question whether you have a mask on and stuff like that. You could be all wrapped up there. You have your gloves on. You have your bags. You could not want to touch anything. You could come dressed up like a fucking ninja into this place, and no one's going to say anything to you. I mean, that'd be a great storyline for them. Okay, we're almost at 30 minutes and never say anything. And I guess maybe the big problem with the mask and all that, you couldn't tell with all the extra shit they're wearing. You couldn't tell if they're, you're not staring at whether they're carrying or not carrying a weapon, because you're in. I mentioned this on the podcast before. Here are the keys. I mean, you rarely see any crime go on. You can see some graffiti. Someone may break into your car. Someone may trespass. I mean, if you're a crackhead, you may get in a fight with someone. You may get in a fight with your girlfriend, stuff like that. Normally, there's very little crimes that occur with people that don't do anything. Don't know each other. You're not going to a stranger. If you're going to get beat or robbed or anything like that, it's probably going to be someone you know. But so many fucking people down here have concealed carry permits because it's how dangerous they think it is, and it is, granted, so up in Homestead. But even I, now because of this thing, I keep a weapon close by. But with the mask and the gloves and all that shit, what a great time to be a stalker in the United States. I mean, you could just go out, you can go choose your favorite victim. You got your gloves on, you got your, and even that. But then the bad thing is, if the person you're stalking is wearing a mask, you're probably going to have a hard time finding them. So, and then you can point him out and you go, well, what did he look like? Well, he had a green mask and pink gloves, and was wearing Make America Great hat. Well, we're gonna look for this guy, but that pretty much looks like everybody down in Key Largo right now. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk to you about is that now, because the thing we're going through, I didn't say anything about it yet. I don't think so. Someone may point it out. I may have said it, but There's still a couple restaurants left, and the governor of the state did weigh. Uh, People are, I guess you're used to this in Wisconsin and Minnesota and places like that, where people have their own uh, beer beer mugs and things like that. They call them growlers, 32-ounce mugs where you can go and get draft beer and take it to go. But they're allowing to go drinks, and I think that would be, once we get out of this thing, that would be a great contest to have for people. Um, It'd be one of the bartending contests. I don't think it'd be bartender. It could be for the guest, and it could be a bike, a runner, or a skateboarder. Let's say, and you have to in a Martini glass. You drive up to a window, or right up to a window with a Martini glass. You fill that Martini up to near the top, and have them take off on a skateboard. Don't give it to them in a to-go cup. That'd be fucking great. You know, a glass of wine, just walking down the street, or riding a bike with a Martini glass. Uh, you probably wouldn't have a fucking ounce of liquor left in there after that. I'd love to see that. So this week we're going to be doing a couple more shows. I'm going to be doing a show with my buddy Joel, the psychologist, who's, I was talking to him last week, and he said he was west of DC. And here who lived in Maryland at one time, didn't realize when I called him today to confirm we're going to do our show tomorrow, that he's in Virginia. And I always think it was in Maryland. And just thinking about it, I realized west of DC, because of how DC comes down, is Virginia. And it's south and west, but directly west. And then west and north, you have Maryland that goes up from there, because DC's on the southern point of Maryland. So we're going to have Joel. Maybe I'm going to ask him, maybe he can bring in some of his music. Maybe he had this weird, matter of fact, he sent me this audio file, and it was 45 minutes long. And he sent it a high quality one. So it's like a 40 megabytes. I don't know what the deal was with that, but that's what he sent me. And he does the I forgot, psychoacoustic studies. That's where Joel was the one that ran the brainwaves to a music synthesizer, and they would track the states of mind and get people when they're in kind of like a higher elevated meditative state or relaxed state, and they try to transpond it by doing a feedback in people. So I want to try to do that, but it only works for the people's own brain waves. So there's no generalized one. And I always thought that, Joel was going to try to do some mind control sound. Then when he sent that long ass sound file to me, I thought he's trying to hypnotize me or control my mind, which you never know. If someone's controlling your mind, how would you know if they control your mind? It'd be kind of a moot point to ask that. And then later on in the week, we'll talk to Steve, and maybe I can get a hold of Papa Joe and Jenna and all those things. But we're going to be doing the socially responsible thing and doing our shows from the remoteness of the home, hearth and home, during this thing, which I don't think I said. So I'm going to post. I have been on a daily basis. I really have been enjoying riding my bike. Unfortunately, in the Keys, we only have north and south, or maybe more like northeast and southwest to go, because the singular thin nature of the Keys tracking down, that I can go up like 6 miles up there and go down some of the side streets and stuff like that, or it goes south. But I have been enjoying my rides, and I'd bought my bike from and this old guy, he's got to be, he's like 82 years old, and he has this little shop he operates just north of Adams Cut on the Bayside. And it has a sign out front, so it's a legit business. And he has maybe 80 bikes there, and they're all secondhand bikes. He has some really good ones, bikes without chains, just have drivetrains, stuff like that. And he's sitting there repairing tires, putting all the stuff. So I went up there a week and a half ago and bought a bike, and I bought this all black cruiser bike. And with the thicker tires on it, not the super thick tires, but thick tires. It has fenders on it, so when we get the rainy season, I have that. I don't have a basket on it yet. I know, sounds, hey, well, you can call it what you want, but I'm not using this. If I need to travel and stuff like that, I'm going to use my car. The bike's just for fun, and it's not even for exercise. Because when I exercise, I'm going to. When I get back to exercising on a bike, it's going to be a stationary bike. And those Peloton guys are killing it right now with this social distancing. It's one reason, it's one workout you really can get in there. But I've been really enjoying my black Schwinn bike. I think it's called the Swindler. The model, the Swindler. It's kind of funny. Maybe I'll just go up and it's a bike to go perhaps to a yard sale. The one thing that this thing we're going through hasn't sparked is you don't see a lot of yard sales, because I guess that would be counter to the social distancing thing, where people will get rid of their shit and giving you their infected goods. But then again, if you put them on your yards, you bring out the shit out of your house and try to sell it. If you sit out there for a couple hours, if it's not fabric or anything like that, if it's solid metal, the UV lights probably kill whatever's on it. So, but I could take my bike there and a Swindler and try to get a really good deal. But yeah, there's not one thing. There's a lot of stupid things going on here. I see, like I said yesterday, my silly neighbor next door, not next door to me, a couple of houses down, their 15-year-old daughter jumping in a car. Guys, I'm not going to say anything. As long as most people, listen to it, as long as most people are practicing this social distancing, it's going to flatten the curve. This idiot with her friends, not so much. She doesn't give a shit about her parents. I don't care. So that's pretty much it. I think we got our week mapped out, and let's try to do one show a day. I hope I'm not boring you too much. I know there's a lot of people on Facebook right now, and they're doing their live feeds and all that shit. But this is my 252nd show. I'm gonna put it down as episode 251. Don't fucking say it. This is Jim the Keys Bartender. I'm gonna leave you with. Let's go with Tina. Oh, I got Keith on this one. Keith, this is a friend of mine. Can I keep this as recording for my sound effects?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, what do you think of that? Oh, she doesn't like that noise. What do you think, Tina?
You're an asshole!
Well, you're welcome, Tina. This is Jim the Keys Bartender. I'll come back to you tomorrow. We'll have a great day. Be careful out there. And I didn't say it. Goodbye.